welcome back to another World Tour Wednesday review from here in Japan, where I'm going to be checking out a bit of music from Hong Kong. And as always, this is a reaction and review. I'm about to give you the review though now. If you want to see the reaction that I just did, pause this video and click the little link in the description below to open up a separate little player where you can see the song along with me if you haven't already heard the song, or if you just want to see my initial reaction hearing it for the first time. And it was an interesting one to react to because this is a song from Hong Kong, and I'm about to give you the review. Yeah, I enjoy listening to music from Hong Kong. I'm a big supporter of Hong Kong with all the things that's been going on politically there at the moment, but they've always been a great musical country, and so it does kind of concern me with all of the things happening, the effect that it could have on the freedom of expression and artistry. So I think now is as good time as any to be very much in support of Hong Kong-based, Hong Kong originating artists. Certainly though, in the case of this band per se, I'd never heard of them before. Don't know the song name because it's written in like the Chinese kanji. I don't recognize them. I was really quite taken by this though, because it in no way was it surprising in that it had a lot of the tropes of the Hong Kong contemporary sound. But what it did was it executed them in a really interesting way. Now, obviously, when we think of the tropes of Hong Kong pop music, I would say pop music, contemporary music, we think of piano-based music, we think of kind of smooth but funky music a lot of the time, often quite emotionally dramatic, you know, kind of like a, you know, whether you like it or not, Hong Kong is famous for its TV-style sounding theme tunes, yeah, sort of TV drama music. That's kind of a sound that it is well known for, and that's because they execute it with a real passion, and often that leads to you getting a lot of male-female vocal songs as well, you know, sort of duets. Now, they might be slight stereotypes of someone who's outside of Hong Kong and has listened to a lot of music that he's heard from Hong Kong rather than actually lived there and experienced what the average person listens to day to day. But certainly that is the impression that I get of a lot of the music I've heard, and having worked with some people from Hong Kong as well, as being a fairly accurate stereotype. And this does take that stereotype, and like I say, it makes it very fresh. So yeah, we have all those sounds. We have the strings, you know, the sort of orchestral sound beneath it. We have the beautiful piano. We have the fantastic vocals, you know, the sort of chilled out summer's day vocals as they bounce between them both. But it was all centered, like I said during the reaction, very much around that rhythm. So you had that tripleted 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 style rhythm going on there. So it's still counting in, you know, 4 beat bars, but you got little each beat's broken down into 3 rather than 4 as it usually would be. If you don't know how this works, go check out my video on how time signatures work on this channel. However, yeah, it was based on that tripleted sound, but then it really developed it. Each instrument really had its own kind of rhythm. I liked how you heard little bits of, yeah, little twangs of guitar. The way that the piano, especially when the piano was doing that little sort of scale riff, it was going up and down and up and down and up and down. That's a technical term, by the way. And again, my vocal impersonations of instruments, spot on again. Professionalism. Yeah, I mean, that was like, it was just a very simple execution of something holding together the rhythm. But then, just like I said, every instrument was doing its own thing, and it really felt in that way powerful. Right from, like I said, the piano sort of very simply riding the rhythm, to the strings holding long notes that often just sort of glazed over the rhythm, down to the way the vocals, you had that cool and answer, which was nicely bounding around on the rhythm. Everything, the beat, just the whole thing, yeah, really felt like every instrument was extracting a different part of the sound. And in that way, as often is the case, the sounds ended up not interrupting each other. They ended up being, although in unison, although playing the same sort of chord pattern, although holding together the backing, they were all concentrating on finding their own spaces in the arrangement enough that you didn't ever get the feeling that it was cluttered. It just felt detailed. It felt like there was lots of things going on at the same time. That just made it interesting to me. That just made it really like a fascinating listen, because there were no big changes. I mean, there was a bit of a crescendo towards the end, but there was no sort of standout, here's the chorus, here's the verse. There was a little bit of a bridge in the middle where it kind of went a little bit more staccato, a little bit more stop-start, but only mildly so. As a general, it kept a sort of smooth flowing sound throughout. And that on its own sounds like the possible sort of setup for something quite dull. We've had this discussion so many times on this channel before. A song that starts off really well, but then it grabs that core and just kind of sticks with it to the point where what originally had impact at the beginning of a song a few minutes later ends up being somewhat repetitive and uninspiring. In this case, though, it was the fact that all those details kept on moving. The fact that it sounded so flush and full of ideas at the beginning, it didn't give you enough time to really take in and get every single sound mapped into your head to the point where it was just kind of like a trance-like state. Instead, everything felt like it had its little bit of almost improvisation. I'm sure it was all written in detail, but it felt almost like there was a bit of improvisation with the way that things shifted whilst also staying on the same core sound. It did have that quality. If you listen to like a sort of a simple jazz improv or just any form of like, jam session, you often get that. There's the core of what everyone's doing doesn't change, but just the little details change enough that something that is just a simple 4-chord pattern can end up being entertaining for 15 minutes of sitting down and listening to people, although jam sessions often are aided by alcohol and whatever else you might choose to partake in. However, the point remains true. If you keep every single instrument looking for something fresh and interesting to do with its original basis, then you get something really good. And like I say, just having that all led by that really wonderful vocal performance. Again, the sort of sleepy vocal sound, not something that I usually personally have any bias towards, but I think it does often work when you have a male and a female vocal and they're singing alongside, and it gives you a sort of it gives more body, fleshes out the vocal rather than making it sound a little bit too tired. It starts to build a bit of life by being layered. So yeah, not really much more I can say about this one except for just the fact that it was, okay, it might not have inspired any new ideas that we haven't heard before. It might not have taken such a turn as to be a real game changer. It might not have even been particularly 100% to my tastes in many ways, but I really enjoyed it and I am going to listen to it again because it just felt smooth and it felt good, and it didn't feel like it was resting on its laurels. It didn't feel like it was kind of insulting the listener with laziness. It felt like something that was really crafted and something that could definitely be enjoyed, and certainly took the mood it was given and didn't squander it. Took a nice idea and made the most out of it until the point it finished. I also wanted to give a shout out to the video, because the video is another example. I have complained many times on this channel about the fact I'm not a big fan usually of those overly sentimental, low contrast, slow motion videos of people doing things that are supposed to evoke some sort of atmosphere. I often find those quite tedious and tiresome and very generic, and I also know that studios often like going for them, because obviously if you film things in slow motion, that means if you've got a 4-minute video, you only actually have to film about 2 minutes worth of footage, which means they're cheaper to make. And there's often you don't have to get the band involved because it's some sort of wistful thing, some sort of pseudo short movie, and as a result they tend to be basically just a cop out for record companies a lot of the time. So when I saw this heading in that direction at first, even though it had the lead singer from Ningunis, when I saw it heading in that direction at first, I was like, I'm not going to think much of a video. But as it went on, actually, I've got to admit, I enjoyed the video. It was well enough acted. It had enough cuts to keep it moving. It stayed engaging. There was some emotional weight to it. Although I wasn't 100% sure totally what I was supposed to really take from it, it felt like it was giving you some images that helped complement the mood of the song, or at least maybe gave a little bit of detail to the mood of the song. I loved how that worked. I thought that was a really great little choice there. And it kind of, even like I say, if I'm not 100% sure what the narrative was, maybe understanding the lyrics would help. I certainly felt that it curved around and went in a nice direction at the end, where it started off so stoic and about just the guy reopening his shop and whatever, and then the poor girl with the fish. I hope the fish didn't die, but looks like it did. And then just the way that at the end it ended with those sort of nice scene. It just felt like it had an emotional direction, if nothing else. And that sort of felt like it paid off, even if I didn't 100% understand the narrative. So I enjoyed that. I thought that was a good little package. And I always like to be surprised by things that I like to enjoy anything. But if it's something where on paper I can say, I don't think I would enjoy this, and then I listen to it or see the video and I go, actually, I enjoyed that. That's always a really good feeling for me. I always really like that kind of thing. Anyway, so a big thank you to you guys for watching this. Please get in the comments and tell me now what you think, because music is only as good as the subjective listener's viewpoint. But I talk as someone who's worked with music my entire adult life, but it doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong. It just means I'm justifying my opinion. So go ahead and justify yours now. If you liked what I said, or just at least found it interesting enough to listen to, then you can like and subscribe. Those things are great. YouTube waffle. Also, remember, we've got the rest of our social medias linked in the description below. A big thank you to anyone who followed our Patreon. We've gone through a lot of stuff recently. Well, we seem to always be going through stuff, but you guys keep us going big time, and certainly onto one of the big projects we've got coming out in the next couple of weeks. So thank you so much for that. And a big thank you to yourself for making it through to the end of this video. So until I hopefully see you soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao, ciao.